Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something powerful. What if you truly believed that nothing could stop you? How different would you show up in the world? How bold would your decisions be? How consistent would your actions become? Every result in your life begins with a thought. Every breakthrough, every setback, every victory, and every failure first pass through the filter of your beliefs. Your mind is the command center, the control tower from which every decision, every action, and every reaction is launched. What you dwell on, you move toward. What you expect, you attract. If you see yourself as limited, you'll operate with hesitation. But if you see yourself as powerful, capable of growth, resilience, and success, your behavior will reflect that inner certainty. The truth is, your brain is always listening. It listens to your words, your self-talk, and your internal narrative, and then it works overtime to make that story true. If you constantly feed it fear, doubt, and hesitation, it will search for ways to justify playing small. But if you feed it belief, drive, and clarity, it will open up pathways you didn't even know existed. Most people wait for the outside world to give them permission to feel powerful. But the real power comes from within. Your thoughts are not passive. They are creative forces. They shape your perception, they control your emotional state, and they set the trajectory for your actions. Think small, act small, act small. Think bold, act bold. Whatever you consistently think about, you inevitably become. Want the next keynote expanded as well? Clarity equals power. Clarity is not just helpful. It is essential. It is the starting point of all success. Without clarity, you drift. With clarity, you drive. With clarity. The difference between high performers and everyone else is not just talent or resources. It's the ability to know exactly what they want and lock their focus on it with unshakable precision. Most people go through life reacting. They respond to distractions, chase opportunities that don't align, and fall victim to urgency rather than importance. They confuse movement with progress, but movement without direction is wasted effort. It's like running hard without knowing where the finish line is. You can be busy all day, and yet end up nowhere. Clarity cuts through noise. It tells you what to ignore. It eliminates confusion. When your vision is sharp, your decisions become easy. You stop chasing everything, and you start pursuing the right things, the things that move the needle. The things that move the needle. Clarity lets you say no with confidence because you're already saying yes to something bigger. When you're clear on your goals, your energy becomes focused. Your time becomes sacred. You stop second-guessing yourself because you're not wondering if something is worth it. You've already decided that it is. The fog lifts, and now you're not just working hard. You're working smart, working forward, and working on purpose. Clarity isn't something you find by accident. It's something you create by design. You must ask yourself the tough questions. What do I truly want? What does success actually look like for me? What am I willing to commit to, no matter how long it takes? No matter how long it takes. You get clear when you stop pretending to want things you don't really care about and start owning the things that set your soul on fire. And once you have that clarity, write it down. Set goals that are specific, measurable, time-bound, and emotionally charged. Vague goals produce vague results. But clear, written goals backed by strong emotion become blueprints for action. They give you direction, momentum, and a reason to persist long after the excitement fades. Clarity also gives birth to confidence. When you know what you want and why you want it, hesitation fades. Fear shrinks. Fear shrinks. You don't waste time wondering what to do next. You already know. You act, you adjust, and you keep moving. You become a force, not because everything is easy, but because everything is intentional. Too often people get stuck waiting for clarity to appear, as if it's a gift that drops from the sky. But the truth is, clarity comes from action. You don't always figure things out by thinking. You figure them out by doing. Start where you are. Make a decision. Move. Take a step. Even the wrong step teaches you something. And every step brings more clarity, more feedback, more refinement. That's how momentum is built. Not by thinking more, but by doing more of what matters. Look at the most successful people in any field, and you'll notice something right away. They have incredible clarity. They know what business they're in. They know who they serve. They know their priorities. They don't allow distraction to dilute their results. Their goals are not optional. They are obligations. That level of clarity becomes a superpower. It's what allows them to stay consistent when others quit. It's what helps them grow when others stall. It's what fuels their hunger when the path gets tough. When you don't know what you want, you settle. You procrastinate. You accept the average because you have no compelling reason to reach for more. But when you're clear, truly clear, you create alignment. Your thoughts, your habits, your environment, and your actions all start pulling in the same direction. There's no resistance, only movement. No guessing, only execution. No distraction, only discipline. Would you like the next keynote in the same expanded style? That style. Confidence comes from action. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's not a personality trait, and it's not reserved for the lucky few. Confidence is a muscle. And like any muscle, it only grows when you use it. Too many people wait for confidence to show up before they take action. They wait until they feel ready, until the fear goes away, until they're sure they'll succeed. But that's not how it works. You don't get confidence and then act. You act, and then confidence follows. Action is the birthplace of confidence, Every time you step forward, even when you're uncertain, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you're willing to move through discomfort. You prove that fear doesn't control you. You prove that progress matters more than perfection. And with every small win, every rep, every decision, every commitment followed through, you build evidence. Confidence comes from accumulated proof that you can handle whatever comes next. People think they need courage to act, but the truth is you only need about 10 seconds of courage to take the first step. That first phone call, that first rep in the gym, the first moment when you speak up in the room. The rest unfolds from there. Courage opens the door, but action walks you through it. The more you move, the more natural it becomes. Confidence doesn't feel like hype. It feels like certainty earned through action. Avoiding action, on the other hand, destroys confidence. When you hesitate, when you overthink, when you wait for perfect conditions, you reinforce doubt. You start creating a habit of fear. The more you delay, the louder your inner critic gets. You don't trust yourself, not because you're incapable, but because you've built a track record of avoidance. Action breaks that cycle. It interrupts the pattern and replaces fear with momentum. There is no substitute for experience. You can read all the books. You can listen to the podcasts. You can visualize and plan. But until you take the first step, none of it matters. Action turns information into transformation. It's how you internalize lessons. It's how you build skill. And as skill goes up, so does confidence. The gap between knowing and doing is where most people lose themselves. They collect ideas, but they never execute. They confuse preparation with progress and with progress. But preparation is nothing without motion. Confidence also comes from doing the hard things on purpose. When you push yourself into discomfort, you expand your limits. You tell your nervous system, this is who I am now. And eventually, what once felt terrifying becomes your new normal. High performers don't avoid fear. They pursue it. They understand that the fastest path to growth is through the thing you're resisting. Each time you lean in instead of pulling back, you become more dangerous in the best way possible. One of the most powerful forms of confidence is self-trust. It's knowing that you will figure it out no matter what. That belief isn't built from success alone. It's built from facing setbacks and rising anyway. Taking action, especially when things don't go perfectly, forces you to adapt. It teaches you resilience. And resilience becomes a foundation you can stand on when things get tough. Consistency matters too. One big action can spark momentum, but it's the repeated actions that reinforce belief. Every time you show up, even when you don't feel like it, you strengthen your identity. You shift from I hope I can to I know I will. You no longer rely on motivation. You operate from commitment. Confidence rooted in daily discipline is unshakable because it's built on what you do, not what you feel. Confidence is not loud or arrogant. Real confidence is quiet, calm, and unshakable. It doesn't need to prove itself. It knows. And that knowing only comes from one place, consistent, aligned, intentional action. Want me to continue with discipline over mood, next in the same style. Discipline over mood. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. That's the line that separates amateurs from professionals, talkers from doers, wishers from warriors. If you rely on your mood, your emotions, your energy level, or your motivation to determine whether or not you show up, you've already lost. Because those things are inconsistent. They change with the weather. They fluctuate based on circumstances. But discipline is a decision. It's a contract you make with yourself, non-negotiable, unbreakable. Anyone can work hard when they feel good. It doesn't make you special. It's easy to go to the gym when you're excited. It's easy to study when you're excited. It's easy to study when you're inspired. It's easy to stick to the plan when everything is lining up and people are cheering for you. But life doesn't reward what's easy. It rewards what's earned. And what's earned comes from showing up when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, uninspiring. Your mood is a liar. It tells you to stay comfortable. It whispers that you can do it later. It justifies skipping steps. It rationalizes bad habits. Your mood wants short-term pleasure. Your discipline wants long-term greatness. And the conflict between the two is where most people lose the battle. They follow how they feel instead of following what they've committed to. Discipline starts where motivation ends. Motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you going. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. It doesn't ask you how you feel. It tells you what to do. It tells you what to do. And the truth is, high achievers don't always feel like doing the work. But they've trained themselves to act regardless of feelings. That's the edge. That's the separator. Discipline creates consistency. And consistency compounds. When you act with discipline, even in small doses, those actions build on each other. One clean day turns into a clean week. 1 hour of deep work turns into focus as a lifestyle. 1 rep leads to a stronger body. The results don't come overnight, but they always come because disciplined effort is never wasted. Here's the reality. Your goals don't care how you feel. The market doesn't care how you feel. Your competition doesn't care how you feel. Success doesn't pause when you're tired, and opportunity doesn't wait until you're motivated. Life keeps moving whether you show up or not. So the question becomes, do you want to be controlled by your emotions, or do you want to control your outcomes? Most people overestimate the importance of intensity and underestimate the power of consistency. They go all in for 3 days, then disappear for 3 weeks. They sprint, burn out, then wonder why nothing changes. Discipline isn't about going hard once. It's about going always. It's about honoring your plan, sticking to your standards, and doing what you said you would do, no matter how you feel about it in the moment. Discipline is also how you build mental toughness. Every time you override your mood, you develop grit. You teach yourself that you're in charge, not your feelings, not your fatigue. And the more you practice that, the stronger your inner voice becomes. The one that says, I said I'd do this, so I'm doing it. That voice becomes your identity. And once your identity is locked in around discipline, your behavior follows naturally. It's not that disciplined people don't have bad days. They do. It's not that they never feel lazy. They do. But they've conditioned themselves to rise above it. They have systems, routines, and rules in place that guide them forward, even when their motivation is gone. They've built a life where their standards dictate their actions, not their feelings. And here's the paradox. The more disciplined you become, the better you feel. Discipline creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence fuels action. And that action reinforces belief. You begin to trust yourself. You start to respect your own word. That self-respect is a quiet superpower. It creates internal peace because you're no longer in conflict with yourself. You do what you say you'll do. You act in alignment with your values. You build a reputation with the person who matters most, you. Discipline also removes decision fatigue. When your actions are based on discipline, you don't need to negotiate with yourself. You don't ask, should I do this today? You already know. It's in the calendar. It's in the plan. It's automatic. That frees up mental energy for bigger things. While others are stuck debating whether or not to get started, you're already halfway done. Some days you'll be tired. Some days the motivation won't show up. Some days you'll feel like quitting. That's normal. The discipline don't care how they feel in those moments. They understand that feelings are just weather. They pass. And while the mood is temporary, the mission is permanent. So they press forward even when it's hard, even when it's silent, even when nobody's watching. Discipline is what turns average into elite. It's what builds businesses, transforms bodies, writes books, and changes lives. Not the initial excitement, not the perfect strategy, not the right mood. Just showing up over and over and over again, 1 hour at a time, one workout at a time, 1 page at a time. Over time, that adds up to something powerful. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and those systems are built on discipline. When you remove your feelings from the equation and replace them with structure, you win. Every time. Because now your progress is no longer conditional on outside forces or inside moods. It's driven by choice, repeated choice. Unshakable choice. Discipline is freedom. Not in the moment, but in the outcome. It's the freedom to wake up with confidence, knowing you're doing the right things. The freedom to trust your path. The freedom to not be swayed by every emotional wave. Discipline gives you control. Control over your schedule, your priorities, your results, and ultimately your life. It doesn't restrict you. It refines you. It doesn't shrink you. It sharpens you. And that sharpness, that edge, that's what separates those who succeed from those who only wish they would. Would you like me to continue with the resilience as a decision in the same detailed format? Resilience is a decision. Resilience is not a personality trait. It's not something only a few people are born with. It's not some magical quality that shows up when life gets hard. Resilience is a decision to keep going when every part of you wants to stop. It's a mindset you choose in the face of pressure, adversity, failure, and fatigue. It's the commitment to stay in the fight. Not because it's easy, but because quitting is not an option. Most people believe resilience is about being tough, about pushing through pain or pretending nothing affects you. That's surface-level thinking. Real resilience isn't about avoiding struggle. It's about responding to it. It's about choosing strength when weakness feels easier. It's about deciding that setbacks will not define you. And every time you make that decision, you harden your foundation. You reinforce your inner resolve. Life is going to hit you. That's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. You will fail. You will get rejected. You will be misunderstood, underestimated, overlooked, and pushed to your limits. That's the process. That's the test. And the people who rise are not the ones with perfect circumstances. They're the ones who refuse to give up. Resilience is not passive. It's not something that happens to you. It's aggressive. It's active. It's built one decision at a time. Starting with the decision at a time, starting with the decision to not quit. Setbacks are not signs that you should stop. They are signals that you're on the path of growth. If you're never uncomfortable, you're not growing. If you're never challenged, you're not changing. And if you're never failing, you're probably playing far too small. Resilience is forged in the struggle. You don't build strength by avoiding weight. You build it by lifting heavier every single time. The difference between people who achieve something extraordinary and people who don't isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's grit. It's perseverance. It's perseverance. It's the ability to fall and get back up, to be knocked down 10 times and stand up 11. Resilient people aren't immune to frustration. They're not superhuman. They just make a different choice. They choose to keep going. They choose to push forward even when they're tired, disappointed, or afraid. Resilience is a habit. And like any habit, it gets stronger the more you practice it. Every time you endure something hard and refuse to fold, you condition yourself. You send a message to your mind and body. We don't break here. We bend, but we don't break. You may slow down. You may need to regroup, but you don't exit. You stay in the game. That mindset becomes a weapon, an internal engine that refuses to stall. And the powerful truth is this: the more adversity you face, the more resilient you become, if you decide to treat it that way. Life will test your limits, but it's in those tests that you learn your real capacity. Most people never discover how strong they actually are because they check out too early. They stop at discomfort. They stop when things stop going their way. But resilience isn't about what happens when it's easy. It's defined in the moments when everything's going wrong and you still choose to rise. Resilient people don't live in the past. They don't dwell on what could have been. They don't obsess over mistakes. They extract the lesson and they move forward. They know pain is part of the process, but so is progress. They refuse to be victims of circumstance. They adopt the mindset of responsibility. They understand they may not control every situation, but they always control their response. You can make that choice at any time. You can decide right now that no matter what life throws at you, you'll respond with purpose. You won't fold. You won't shrink. You won't hand your power over to pressure. You'll rise with it. That decision alone changes how you carry yourself. It rewires your brain, because now you're not looking for ways to escape difficulty, you're looking for ways to conquer it. There's a huge difference between people who see struggle as something to avoid and people who see it as something to embrace. Resilient people expect resistance. They plan for setbacks. They build their mindset for it. They don't act surprised when things don't go according to plan. They adjust. They pivot, but they don't collapse. Their resilience isn't reactive. It's proactive. They've trained themselves to stay grounded in chaos, to remain calm under pressure, They understand that emotional control is part of the game, that panic solves nothing, that complaining is a waste of time. So instead of spiraling, they center themselves. Instead of breaking down, they break through. That doesn't mean it's easy. It just means it's a decision they've already made. Resilience also means being honest with yourself. It means looking in the mirror and asking, am I showing up the way I need to? Am I making excuses or making progress? That level of self-awareness isn't comfortable, but it's necessary. Because when you stop lying to yourself, you regain your power. And that power allows you to make better choices. Resilient people don't hide from their flaws. They face them head on and commit to doing better. Sometimes resilience means slowing down. It means resting without quitting. It means knowing the difference between burnout and resistance. Resilience doesn't mean you push it 100% every single day. It means you stay in the fight even when your pace changes. It means you respect the process and recognize that persistence looks different on different days. Some days it's a sprint. Some days it's a crawl. Some days it's a crawl. But forward is forward. And one of the most important decisions you make as a resilient person is to not take things personally. Life doesn't owe you fairness. The world doesn't adjust itself based on your expectations. Resilience means accepting that. It means not internalizing every loss as a reflection of your worth. It means separating failure from identity. Just because you lost a round doesn't mean you're a loser. Just because you fell short doesn't mean you're finished. Your story isn't over unless you stop writing it. Resilience isn't loud. It doesn't need attention. It's not a social media moment. It's quiet. It's internal. It happens when no one is watching. When you get up early to train. When you stay late to finish the work. When you study after failing an exam. When you keep building after the business flops. When you choose to believe in yourself again after everything tells you not to. It's in those moments, those small yet defining moments, that true resilience is born. It's not about what you feel like doing. It's about what you've decided to do. What you've decided. And when that decision is locked in, when it's made with total certainty, when you remove quitting from the menu, your resilience becomes automatic. You stop negotiating with doubt. You stop dancing with fear. You simply do the work, whether or not the outcome is guaranteed. Because the mission is bigger than your feelings, and your standards are stronger than your emotions. Would you like to move on to a visualized victory, then chase it relentlessly? Next, in the same detailed and intense style? Visualize victory, then chase it relentlessly. Every outcome you achieve starts first as an image in your mind. Victory doesn't begin when you cross the finish line. It begins long before, when you decide what that finish line looks like. The mind is the blueprint. If you can't see it internally, you won't build it externally. You must create the vision of your future so clearly that it becomes impossible to ignore, impossible to let go, and impossible to live beneath. Visualization is not fantasy. It's not daydreaming. It's not wishful thinking. It's strategic mental conditioning. It's about creating such a vivid picture of success in your mind that it starts pulling you forward, day by day, decision by decision. When done with intensity, visualization primes your brain for action. It programs your subconscious to look for solutions, to find opportunities, and to push through barriers. You begin to operate as if the outcome is inevitable, not because of arrogance, but because you've already seen it happen thousands of times in your head. The world reflects what you hold in your mind. If you're walking around visualizing fear, doubt, and failure, your behavior will mirror that. You'll move cautiously. You'll hesitate. You'll sabotage your own potential. But if you feed your mind with images of victory, of strength, of focus, of results, you begin to move like someone who expects to win. And when you expect to win, your actions align with that expectation. That's not ego. That's mental discipline. You must become obsessed with your vision. It must be real to you, specific, detailed, and emotional. You must see it when you wake up, feel it when you're tired, and chase it when there's nothing left in the tank. Vague goals produce vague results. Clear vision backed by obsession leads to relentless pursuit. You're not just interested, you're invested. You're not just hoping, you're building. You don't dabble, you commit. This kind of clarity creates direction. It kills hesitation. It eliminates distraction. When you know exactly what you're after, you stop chasing every shiny object. You stop comparing yourself to people with different goals, different timelines, and different standards. You tune out the noise because your focus is too sharp to be interrupted. Once the vision is locked in, the next step is execution. Not someday. Not later. Not when the conditions are perfect. Relentless pursuit means you move. You act. You make decisions quickly and take responsibility for them. You don't stall out looking for the perfect plan. You adjust on the move. Your momentum becomes your advantage. While others are still thinking about what to do, you're already doing it. Learning in real time, correcting course, and building speed. There is no secret, no shortcut, no hack that replaces chasing your goals with urgency and aggression. Every single day, you must take steps toward that vision, whether you feel like it or not. You show up early, you stay late, you stay locked in. You don't skip the process. You respect the grind because you know that's where the real growth happens. Quote, "The people who win aren't necessarily more talented or smarter. They just refuse to let up. They stay in pursuit when others get comfortable. They stay in pursuit when others get distracted. They keep swinging, day after day, long after the initial motivation fades. Chasing your vision relentlessly also means embracing the pain that comes with it. Nothing worth building comes without resistance. There will be setbacks. There will be rejection. You will be misunderstood, underestimated, and tested. That's part of the path. If your vision is real, you won't fold. You won't be shaken by temporary discomfort. You'll treat every obstacle as a rep, every setback as feedback, and every delay as a test of how bad you really want it. And make no mistake, you will be tempted to quit. There will be days when the goal feels too far away, when the pressure feels too heavy, when the progress feels too slow. That's when visualization becomes more important than ever. You close your eyes and see it. You feel it. You remind yourself why you started. You get back to the work, not because you feel ready, but because you've already decided the outcome. That decision was made in the quiet, long before the pressure showed up. Relentless pursuit is not emotional. It's not loud. It's not about hype or intensity for the sake of looking busy. It's methodical. It's locked in. It's about doing the right things over and over, especially when nobody's clapping, when nobody's validating you, when nobody's even watching. Because relentless people don't need applause, they need results. They're addicted to progress, not praise. To chase your vision relentlessly also means to become the person who is worthy of that outcome. That's not just about what you want to achieve. It's about who you must evolve into to earn it. Visualize that version of you. How do they walk? How do they speak? What time do they wake up? What do they tolerate? What do they expect from themselves? Once you see it, be it. Act like it. Train like it. Work like it. Think like it. The more you align your current behavior with your future identity, the faster that future becomes your reality. This is what separates the average from the elite. Most people dabble. They say they want it, but their actions tell a different story. They visualize occasionally, working consistently, and quit quietly. But the top 1%, they're different. They've made a decision. And when you make a real decision, backed by clarity and followed by action, everything else fades. Doubt fades. Distraction fades. Fear fades. And all that remains is forward motion. When you chase your vision relentlessly, you create something powerful. Certainty. Not certainty in the outcome. No one is guaranteed anything, but certainty in yourself, in your effort, in your endurance, in your discipline. And when you operate from that place, when you wake up knowing you're doing the work, building the habits and living the standard, you become dangerous. You become unstoppable. You become someone who doesn't wait for opportunity. You create it. You don't knock on the door, you kick it open. You don't wish things were easier. You become better. And every single move you make is tied back to that vision you see so clearly in your mind. You're not hoping anymore. You're building. You're becoming. You're earning every inch of your future.